A very good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Beetv Global News at 12. I am Ruth Obodo and now the news in detail. At least 4 European countries have announced that they will not participate in next year's Eurovision Song Contest, following the decision by the European Broadcasting Union to allow Israel to compete despite ongoing international concern over its conduct in the Gaza war. The report.
The Netherlands, Spain, Ireland and Slovenia confirmed their withdrawal on Thursday, marking one of the most significant coordinated boycotts in the contest's recent history. Their decision came shortly after the EBU General Assembly voted to keep Israel in 2026 lineup while implementing stricter voting rules aimed at preventing political influence. Several broadcasters had previously warned that they would pull out if Israel remained in the competition, arguing that the humanitarian crisis and military actions in Gaza made its participation unacceptable. Despite these warnings, the EBU ruled that Israel broadcaster could continue to compete, a decision that immediately set off a wave of withdrawals. The Netherlands said the EBU's decision was no longer compatible with the responsibility we bear as a public broadcaster, stressing that allowing Israel to participate undermined the contest's credibility and neutrality. Spain's broadcaster RTVE expressed serious doubts over Israel inclusion, noting that the ongoing conflict and civilian casualties in Gaza made it impossible to justify participating in what is meant to be a non-political cultural event. Ireland's RTE called participation unconscionable, pointing to the scale of humanitarian suffering in Gaza and arguing that continuing as normal would be morally indefensible. Slovenia joined the boycott, saying the contest risked being used for political purposes and trusting Eurovision's guiding principles had been compromised. The 2026 contest, scheduled to take place in Vienna, Austria, is set to be the 17th edition of Eurovision. The withdrawal of 4 countries, with others reportedly considering similar moves, represent a major challenge to the event's long-held branding as a unifying cultural festival among above politics. Organizers now face escalating pressure from member broadcasters divided over whether Eurovision can maintain political neutrality and the high-profile international conflict. The situation continues to evolve as additional broadcasters evaluate their position ahead of the final participation deadline. Soher or Semegi, reporting for Beetv News.
On December 4, 2025, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, hosted the leaders of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda in Washington, D.C. for the signing of a U.S. brokered agreement aimed at ending decades of conflict in the eastern Congo and opening the region's vast critical mineral reserves to American companies and the U.S. government. The report.
President Trump praised the leaders of both countries, Felix Tshisekedi and Paul Kagame, for their courage in signing the agreement. He described the moment as a great day for Africa, a great day for the world, adding that today they are succeeding where so many others have failed. The agreement, often described as historic, finalizes the framework agreed earlier in June 2025. It includes commitment to a permanent ceasefire, disarmament of non-state armed groups, economic integration and cooperation on mineral extraction and trade. Under the deal, the U.S. will gain access to important mineral resources in eastern Congo, including rare earths, copper, cobalt, lithium, gold, tin and other critical raw materials resources essential for modern technologies, energy and defense industries. Trump also framed the signing as part of his broader role as a global dealmaker and suggested the agreement might strengthen his case for being awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
Decades of violence and bloodshed, and to begin a new era of harmony and cooperation between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda. I want to thank the 2 courageous leaders. They are courageous leaders. They really are courageous leaders, great people. I think they liked each other a lot. I spent time with them. I think they liked some people may be surprised. I really do. I think they've spent a lot of time killing each other, and now they're going to spend a lot of time hugging, holding hands, and taking advantage of the United States of America economically like every other country does.
The signing ceremony took place at the building formerly known as the United States Institute of Peace, reportedly rebranded under Trump's administration, further symbolizing the diplomatic importance attached to the accord. The Eastern DRC has been plagued by a complex decade-long conflict involving more than 100 armed groups, the most powerful among them, the rebel group M23, widely believed to be backed by Rwanda, seized major cities including Goma and Bukavu in 2025, intensifying a humanitarian crisis and displacing large numbers of civilians. Yet, despite the signing, fighting continues in parts of the region. Witnesses in eastern Congo reported ongoing clashes between M23 fighters and Congolese government forces, raising doubts about whether the accord will immediately translate into lasting peace. Some critics argue the deal may prioritize access to mineral wealth over the protection of civilian populations and long-term stability. Observers note that unlocking Congo's mineral reserves for U.S. companies will economically significant risk exacerbating tensions if formal combatant or armed groups remain active. Still, both Congolese and Rwandan leaders expressed cautious optimism. During the signing, President Tshisekedi described the agreement as the beginning of a new part, acknowledging the challenges ahead, but framing it as a step towards friendship, cooperation and prosperity. Its Rwanda counterpart, President Kagame, said the deal offered a chance to restart relations on more stable ground. As Soher or Semege, reporting for Beetv News.
The FBI has arrested a man in connection with the pipe bombs placed in Washington, D.C. on the evening of January 5, 2021. The night before the riot at the U.S. Capitol, the devices, one located near the Republican National Committee headquarters and the other near the Democratic National Committee headquarters, were safely rendered inert and did not explode. Authorities have described both bombs as capable of causing death or serious injury if detonated. The reports.
The arrested individual has been identified as Brian J. Cole Jr., a 30-year-old resident of Woodbridge, Virginia. This marks the first public identification of a suspect in a nearly 5-year investigation into the pipe bomb placement. Cole was taken into custody on Thursday morning, nearly 5 years after the devices were planted. The FBI's renewed review in 2025 of previously collected evidence led to the arrest, rather than a new tip or informant. Investigators established a connection between Cole and the bombings using credit card records showed purchases of bomb-making components, cell phone tower data placing his phone near both bomb sites. On the night of January 5, 2021, license plate reader data confirming a vehicle associated with Cole in the area, surveillance video from the vicinity of the RNC and DNC headquarters. Authorities have indicated that the investigation was meticulous and took years of careful evidence review to reach this breakthrough. Cole has been federally charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce, attempted malicious destruction of property by means of explosive materials. At this stage, officials have not publicly revealed Cole's motive, nor have they confirmed whether there is a direct connection between the bombings and the January 6 Capitol riot. It also remains unclear whether Cole acted alone or with co-conspirators. The arrest closes a major gap in one of the earlier security threats surrounding the events of January 6, 2021, a day marked by the storming of the U.S. Capitol. Although the bombs did not detonate, the potential for significant casualties highlighted the severity of the threat. Authorities are continuing to investigate the case and have not ruled out further charges. The FBI emphasized that the investigation relied on careful analysis of both digital and physical evidence collected during the initial probe and in the years following the attack. Temitope Oluwafemi reporting for Beetv News.
Admiral Frank Peach Bradley, the current commander of the U.S. Special Operations Command, is facing intense congressional scrutiny following a controversial military operation in international waters near Venezuela. The operation, which involved a strike on a boat carrying suspected adversaries, resulted in multiple deaths, including survivors of the initial boat attack, raising serious questions about the legality and justification of the action. The report.
The incident has prompted lawmakers to examine the role of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in authorizing and overseeing the operation. Congressional investigators are probing whether proper protocol were followed and whether the strike may have violated U.S. law, international maritime law, or established rules of engagement. The review includes an assessment of the chain of command, the decision-making process, and any intelligence relied upon to justify the use of lethal force. Admiral Bradley, who ordered the operation, is expected to testify before congressional committees. Lawmakers are particularly focused on understanding whether warnings were issued to those on the boat, how targets were identified, and whether non-lethal alternatives were considered. The investigation will also scrutinize the communication between the Defense Department and the White House, as well as any post-strike reporting and accountability measures. The congressional review comes amid broader concerns about U.S. military operations in international waters and the growing tension between the United States and Venezuela. Legal experts note that any breach of maritime or international law could have far-reaching consequences for military leadership and policy. Officials involved have stressed the complexity of special operations missions, which often involve high-stake decisions under uncertain conditions. Nonetheless, the deaths of both strike survivors have intensified public and political scrutiny, underscoring the need for transparency and accountability in military operations. The outcome of this investigation could have lasting implications for U.S. military protocols, oversight of special operations, and the legal boundaries governing lethal force in international contexts. Evelyn Isabella reporting for Beetv News.
A high-level Vatican commission has voted 7-1 against allowing Catholic women to serve as deacons, maintaining the church tradition of an all-male clergy. The report, which was presented to Pope Leo, concluded that current research excludes the possibility of women entering the diaconate at this time. The report.
The commission, composed of theologians and senior church officials, was tasked with studying the historical and theological foundations of the diaconate and evaluating whether women could be admitted to the clerical role. While some previous studies suggested the early church may have had women deacons, the commission determined that evidence was insufficient to justify a formal change. Deacons in the Catholic Church perform a variety of duties, including assisting at Mass, preaching, baptizing, and performing charitable work. Unlike priests, deacons do not celebrate the Eucharist, but they are considered part of the clergy. The vote underscores ongoing debates within the church about the role of women in ministry, a discussion that has gained attention in recent decades. Pope Francis has previously expressed support for studying the historical role of women in the church, but the Commission's report indicates that there will be no immediate change to current church practice. The sole dissenting member of the Commission argued that the church should remain open to re-examining women's participation in the diaconate, citing historical evidence and pastoral considerations. However, the majority concluded that doctrinal and historical factors currently preclude such a development. Zainab Mohammed reporting for Beetv News.
Going on a short break, do stay with us.
Like a shining light, a kind heart has no hiding place. Honorable Prince Henry Odianose Okoje and his amiable wife, Princess Mercy Johnson Okoje, are truly a shining light, a kind-hearted couple who cares about the plight of other people. From grass to grace is the story of two families in East and Northeast local government area of Edo State. The two families who became homeless, having witnessed the collapse of their mud houses, were helpless due to lack of shelter. For Mr. Sunday Iyere, his wife died, leaving behind 5 children, including a 7-month-old baby. And for Mrs. Philomena Ehizofua, she became a squatter with a kind-hearted individual after her building collapsed, until she met Honorable Prince Henry Odianose Okoje, member representing Eastern Northeast and Eastern Southeast Federal Constituency at the Federal House of Representatives, who came to her rescue after pleading with him for a shelter. Moved with pity and the meek of human kindness in them, Prince Okoje and his wife, Mercy Johnson Okoje, fully mobilized contractors to construct a 2-bedroom flat each for the two families. And today, the project is ready for commissioning. The handing over the project is slated for Friday, December 5, 2025 at Ebuade Lane off Uwalo Road, Uromi, Edo State, and Saturday, December 6th at Amedoshian, Uromi, Edo State. We say thank you to Honorable Prince and Princess Mercy Johnson Okoje for your kind gesture. and may your light shine brightest. And to God alone be all the glory. Gone but not forgotten. Our dearly beloved mommy and matriarch, late Madam Gift Soe Irabo. Mommy, it's been 8 years since you left us in this sinful world, and just like a burnt down library, our world crashed when death took you away from us. As our mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, aunt, and mother-in-law, we will not forget in a hurry the great lessons you taught us, especially your prayerful lifestyle that brought us closer to God. We remember your undying love, care, and passion for God and man. The entire family of Yorama Erabo of Ogo Town in Orion local government area of Edo State cordially invites the public to the 8 years remembrance of their daughter, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, Madam Gift Soe Erabo. Date: January 13, 2026. Venue: Rose Garden Event Center, number 22, Giwa Amu Street, off Airport Road, GRA, Benin City. Time: 12 p.m. prompt. Mommy, continue to rest until we meet to part no more. We love you dearly. Signed, Ambassador Ogene Osaumese JP, for the family.
Welcome back, and now to the business news. The federal government has moved to ease rising tensions among road contractors by pledging to clear all outstanding payments before December 20th, 2025. The commitment was announced by the Minister of Works, David Umai, during the reopening of the repaired Kefi flyover in Nasarawa State, where he confirmed that President Bola Tinubu has approved the creation of a committee to verify and settle accumulated debts. The reports.
Contractors in recent days had staged protests at the Ministry of Finance over prolonged non-payment for completed and ongoing projects. The All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria accused the government of owing about 4 trillion naira, with 760 billion naira said to have been previously promised for release. Demonstrators placed a symbolic coffin at the ministry's entrance to reflect the hardship and losses they claimed had resulted from the debt delays. Umahi assured that verified claims would be settled within days and confirmed that firms working on the Maraba-Kefi axis were among those still awaiting payment. He added that anti-corruption agencies, including the ICPC and EFCC, had been invited to audit federal road projects nationwide to enhance transparency and ensure payments correspond with actual work delivered. Chamber urges Nigerians to explore opportunities in Slovenia. The Nigeria Slovenia Chamber of Commerce has encouraged Nigerian businesses to take advantage of emerging economic and investment opportunities in Slovenia. The call was made during the Chamber's 2025 Last Quarter Business Forum held in Lagos, a platform designed to update stakeholders on areas of mutual benefit between both countries. The Chamber's Director General, Uche Udogwo, described Nigeria-Slovenia relations as a growing bilateral economic partnership and noted that the organization was established to facilitate trade, investment, and industrial cooperation. He said the Chamber works to deepen engagement between institutions in the two nations, particularly in commercial, technical, and scientific sectors. He added that the body also provides guidance to members on business opportunities and regulatory developments while promoting exchanges amid the strengthening trade relations. Slovenia's major imports for Nigeria include organic chemicals, agro products such as cocoa, beans, metal scraps, wood, and mineral fuels. Asian markets mixed ahead of U.S. data expected Fed rate cut. Asian markets recorded mixed performances on Friday as investors weighed a muted lead from Wall Street and awaited key U.S. economic data. The sentiment followed a series of indicators that offered little clarity on the outlook for the Federal Reserve's monetary policy decision expected next week. Despite recent gains driven by signals of further policy easing from U.S. central bank officials, traders remain cautious. Reports pointing to a softening labor market, including data showing a loss of more than 30,000 jobs in November, contributed to expectations of a forthcoming rate cut. Figures released on jobless claims and layoff came in slightly better than forecast, but markets continue to price in a strong likelihood around 90% of a rate reduction on Wednesday. The mixed economic signals left investors treading carefully as the week drew to a close. Temitope Oluwafemi reporting for BTV News.
Moving on to entertainment news. Media personality Toke Makinwa has shared a glimpse of her elaborate Christmas decorations as she prepares to celebrate her first festive season as a mother. She posted a video of the setup on Instagram describing this year's celebration as especially significant with her daughter, Yakira, experiencing Christmas for the first time. Also, the Grinch is set to appear on this year's Late Toy Show. The reports.
Makinwa said she personally decorated her home in an effort to recreate the holiday traditions she enjoyed while growing up. She also revealed that she ordered personalized ornaments from the day her daughter was born and expressed delight at how well they turned out. The entertainer noted that baby Yakira has been captivated by the Christmas lights and decorations. The celebration follows Makinwa's recent milestone of marking her daughter's 3-month anniversary, which she commemorated with photos and reflections on her journey into motherhood after welcoming Yakira in August. A social media user who previously alleged that Senator Ned Nwoko sponsored an attempt to assassinate actress Regina Daniels has retracted his claims. The individual, known online as Liar of TikTok, had gone viral after posting a video accusing the politician amid reports of marital issues between Nwoko and Daniels. The allegation prompted Nwoko to issue a formal denial and announce plans to take legal actions in response to the claims. The widely circulated video has sparked online debates before the complainant reversed his position. Again, in a new recording, the accuser admitted the story was fabricated and said he often makes false statements online for attention. He also insisted that he had not directly mentioned Nwoko by name or used his image in the original post. Preparations are underway for this year's edition of the Late Toy Show, with Patrick Kilty returning as host for the 3rd time. The presenter is expected to appear dressed as the Grinch as part of the show's Christmas-themed entertainment. The annual program remains a major tradition in Irish household, featuring children showcasing talents and reviewing newly released toys. Dozens of young participants from across Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland are set to take part. Among them is a performer from Magilligan in County Londonderry who described her selection as a dream opportunity. The show continues to be celebrated for its mix of performances, reviews and festive excitement shared across the island. And that's it on the entertainment news. Evelyn Isabel reporting for Beetv News.
And now to sports. Lionel Messi has identified Spain, France, England and Brazil as the leading contenders for the next FIFA World Cup, notably excluding both the defending champions Argentina and Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal. He also acknowledged Germany as a strong competitor but did not include his own national team among the favourites despite their status as title holders. Messi said the competition has become tougher since Argentina won the last World Cup, noting that every team is eager to defeat the reigning champions. He maintained that Argentina would continue to compete at the highest level, but stressed that several other teams appear better positioned for the title based on current form and depth. Amid speculation about his future, Messi addressed questions regarding its participation in the 2026 World Cup. He reiterated that he has not yet made a final decision but expressed a desire to play in the tournament, marking the first time he has openly stated interest while maintaining his stance of uncertainty over the last 2 years. And that'll be all on our 12 p.m. Global News. Thank you for joining and stay tuned for our 3 p.m. news updates. I am Ruth Obodu. Goodbye for now.
Revolution.